working?
We kept information from him.
Say one more time.
We kept information from him.
From Trump?
Yes. He's an idiot.
So the agencies kind of like all got together and said, we're not going to tell Trump.
The higher ups.
The higher ups.
We put it this way, the executive staff. We're talking about the director and his subordinates.
Like what titles are they? They're
Director of the CIA.
Director of the CIA would keep.
Yes.
Are you guys still watching him?
I would say yes.
It sounds like you guys are still watching him and his team.
Of course we are. Nothing goes by without somebody watching.
Was it the CIA or the NSA that spied on Trump?
So it could be all of them.
So you're saying that your agency, CIA.
A lot of the agencies, he's not going to get re-elected again. I've done the math. It's impossible. We have a choice here. Do we want our democracy or do we want some fucking madman who wants to be a dictator?
Does it say the CIA on your LinkedIn?
Fuck no. No, we can't do that. And then I worked at NSA for a year.
Okay.
And I was doing some really cool cyber stuff, which I cannot tell you about. Did the Office of Director of National Intelligence. So I helped them stand up inside our threat program. They trusted me to set that up.
Yeah.
Just don't tell anybody.
I don't have anyone to tell.
Yeah. This conversation didn't happen.
Of course.
I get strictly denied.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? You know, it really is amazing.
Crack me up.
Huh?
Those videos crack me up.
Yeah. Oh, it's well. I was
He's
gonna
like,
say
blah 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 blah. He's spilling all the beans, and then he's like, "Well, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
You didn't hear it from me." Okay.
Yeah, he asked the same question twice. Like, just you're talking about President Trump, right? And the CIA was the one spying. Yes,
right.
exactly. But you know, the amazing thing is that there's so much of this, and we're so numb to it now. Like normally, people would be screaming about what an outrage this is, and there needs to be investigation and criminal charges, and you know, this is like bigger than Watergate, and it's just another day. And the Democrats don't give a flying rat's ass if nobody investigates any of this stuff, because it's their guy they're protecting. So it doesn't matter if they want to illicitly spy on the president, sabotage the administration, you know.
Yeah.
You know, destroy. I mean, it's not a crime against democracy or anything for the people that were hired by the Trump administration, by Trump, the only person the American people actually elected, and the deep they can just, you know, violate his orders, spy on him, and they just get away with it, and nobody cares. It's stunning.
It's disgusting.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Welcome
everyone.
to the Rescue Michigan weekly live stream, where we have a deadline coming up, and we're going to be talking a little bit about precinct delegates tonight. We will talk about the news this week too. There's been some news, but hey, happy Easter, Patty. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Today, of course, is the Orthodox Easter.
Orthodox Easter, Cinco de Pascha. Yes, I just got home about half an hour ago from my cousin's house. We had a nice party with the family, about 100 people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's also Cinco de Mayo. I was like, isn't May 5th something too?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was nice. My cousin hosts every year, and we all get together, and my big fat Greek family. So
nice.
It was nice.
So we've been talking about doing a stream. We're going to be talking about precinct delegates, which ties directly into this whole Christina Karamo stuff. But I got a copy of the transcript of the Grand Rapids hearing this week, and we've been talking about doing some kind of reenactment. The thing is, it's like 12 hours worth, maybe more, maybe 15 hours worth of testimony. So I don't think we're going to do the entire thing, because that would just be a little bit too overboard. But we definitely have to do it, because this has been something that the Karamo people have been lying about. Well, they lie about everything, but they've been lying about this since the day it occurred. And the evil judge was totally unfair, and he ignored our evidence, and yada, yada, yada. And it's critical that the public can see the truth about this. So we do have, if you're watching on YouTube or on not YouTube, I'm sorry, yes, YouTube, not Facebook, but YouTube and Rumble, we have a link in the description. I already posted it because I knew I was going to have to get to it, of where you can download for yourself the entire transcript of the 3 days of hearing. So the link.
Are we going to have auditions for people who want to like audition for a role in the reenactment?
People are welcome to reach out if they want to. I know we're going to have issues with scheduling, and there's a few different
commercial dramatization. It would be across the bottom.
Yeah,
right?
there's a few different roles here. I think, Patty, you should be Anne Delisle because Anne is like absolutely just shutting down the Karamo attorney every single time. No, sir. No, you're still wrong. Nope, that's not true. Nope, you're wrong
so
about this.
wrong.
Like, yeah, so wrong. But just to give you guys and by the way, the best thing you guys can do also, if you read through this, is send me what you think would be the best passages to reenact. But I mean, the top line thing here is just look at this. Remember, after the second day, the Karamo attorneys claimed that they didn't have an opportunity to present their side of the case. And this is so outrageous. But look at this. This is the time they spend. First witness, Ann Delisle. Direct examination by Mr. Lauterbach. That is the plaintiff's attorney. So this is the Pego attorney. 20 pages of testimony, followed by 100 pages of cross-examination and other interrogation. Well, the voir dire.
Such unreal.
Yeah, 100 pages. Then you've got Thomas Balch. He was the expert witness on Robert's Rules of Order. Direct examination by the plaintiff, 40 pages. Cross-examination by the defendant, 50 pages. Day 2. Going back to Ann Delisle again, another 75 pages of cross from the defense attorney, followed by 5 pages of redirect from, 3 pages of redirect from the plaintiff, and another 5 from the defendant. Margaret Kurzweil, by the way, Mindy says she should
appear as herself, special guest star. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe she can, but usually I would suggest not, because attorneys and witnesses don't want to be involved in, talking about stuff outside the courtroom when the case is still pending. But maybe if she's willing to, she's the attorney, she would know. But again, Margaret Kurzweil, direct 6 pages, cross 50 pages, and then at the end of this day, Your Honor, we didn't get any time. They didn't call any witnesses.
Yeah, and then they were whining at the end. Yeah.
3/4 of this is them arguing with the witnesses. So if you want to get ahead of this and you want to read this, go ahead. It is linked in the description on the video that you're watching right now, if you're watching it on YouTube or on Rumble. So there you go. Anyway, the big deadline we've got coming up is this Tuesday at 4 p.m., I believe, is the cutoff for people who filed to become precinct. That is right?
4 p.m. Tuesday to be on the ballot. After that is write-in.
Yes,
and
that's true.
There's a second deadline for write-in, but it's best if you can.
The write-in deadline is like shortly before the election, which is the primary election, the August 6th election.
Yeah.
If you're in a precinct that has fewer candidates than seats available, you can certainly run as a write-in. But if not, if there's a contest, a write-in will always lose to a filed candidate. So it's always good to file to become a precinct delegate if you can. And really, there's only reason you couldn't is if you're running as a Democrat in a state race or something. But
oh my gosh,
or you're not registered to vote or eligible to vote. But otherwise,
August 2nd. Oh, sorry.
What?
Yeah, August 2nd deadline at 4 p.m. for write-in candidates who seek precinct delegate positions to file declaration of intent forms with the county clerk for the August primary. As an alternative, candidates for precinct delegate may file the form with appropriate precinct board of election the day before the close of the polls. But August 2nd is the deadline. August 6th is the primary.
Yep. But and for many places that'll be okay. But well, I know in my county we have plenty of contested precinct delegate spots where if you're not filed on time to be a regular candidate on the ballot, you can only run as a write-in. And it's a lot better to have your name printed on the ballot there because you'll get a certain built-in number of votes. So what is being a precinct delegate? I think we should explain this to people because it's very confusing. And I think people make it confusing too. It's because people think, well, I don't know if I've got the time. I don't know if I'm going to be, able to go out and knock on doors. It's like, actually, only thing being a precinct delegate means is you can vote at a county convention. And if you're not a precinct delegate, you can't. It really is that. And there's all kinds of, typically politicians will always try to get people, hey, you're a precinct delegate. Why aren't you out knocking on doors? Well, because they don't have to. Now, if you want to knock on doors, that's lovely. You should knock on doors. Don't get me wrong. But that's not the same thing. I mean, being a precinct captain or a volunteer, a precinct leader, that's all wonderful. And every campaign will be happy to have a volunteer knocking on doors for them. But being a precinct delegate just means you have the ability to vote at a county convention. Yet level 1 says 2 meetings a year, the county conventions, electing party leadership. Sometimes it's 3, but usually it's 2.
Yeah, that's the basic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a county convention in August to elect delegates to the state convention. That's the first thing they'll do after they get elected. They can go to the state convention. What happens at the state convention? Well, what should happen is they just nominate candidates for university boards, U of M, MSU, Wayne State boards, state Supreme Court. And that's really about it.
This year, yeah.
This year. In other years, they'll do nominations for Attorney General and Secretary of State. Those are very important. And Lieutenant Governor. But, if you have enough state delegates, you can do any kind of crazy stuff, potentially. Sometimes there's what's called a runaway convention. That's how our country was formed. So all the more reason you want to have good people being precinct delegates, to elect good people to be state delegates. And of course, the conventions that they have after this, after the November election, is when they elect their county party leadership. And they elect their district party leadership.
Except in Wayne
County. They elect
County.
their state party leadership. Huh?
Except in Wayne County.
Except in Wayne County.
We elect our county leadership in January.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Mindy says, yes, and delegates should be vetted. Well, but, and Mindy, if you mean district or state delegates, vetted by whom? The people that do the voting on them is the precinct delegates. So we've talked on many a stream about the Christina Karamo stuff and what they almost did. And of course, on our channels where you guys are watching, we had a video. Let me pull this up, actually, just so in case people haven't already seen it. Oh, I hope you did. It's one of the best streams we've ever done. We took a look at the proposed constitution of the Christina Karamo GOP. So you can actually go to rescuemichigan.com, and on the video tab on the main menu, go to our video archive. There is this video here where we actually read through it, and there's actually a link to it right here where you can read this document, the constitution that they proposed for the state party, the MIGOP Constitution footnote. And this goes on. I think we even talked about this last weekend too. So we'll
well, you brought up on the back, it said signed on this day, and it said the August.
March 2nd.
I'm sorry, March 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to pass this at the last state convention. They didn't do it because they couldn't get the votes. And that's in part
among other things.
Yeah. But I mean, this is just absolutely crazy. And you can just tell from the footnotes even what they're talking about here. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit so you can see here. The state chair shall form a functional and qualified conflict resolution committee to manage all MIGOP internal disputes. I mean, even in the footnote on the front page, they're establishing this being a dictatorship, that the state party can control county and district parties, that they can throw them off. And it's all set out in the details. We went through this on the stream that's in our video archive right there. Tim Kuhn says, when can we put the KK horror show behind us? I think it's going to be after this next round of precinct delegates, Tim. I mean, that's the issue, is they are out for revenge, and they are doing everything they can to mobilize precinct delegates for the upcoming convention. They don't care about November. They care about taking over the state party. Paula says, this last county convention, delegates put resumes together with what they have actually done since August of 2022. That's how we picked our state delegates. That's great. If you do it that way.
Yeah.
But, every county is different. You can ask people to send that. At the end of the day, whatever the delegates do at the county conventions is what they end up doing.
Yeah.
Hot Cheddar on Rumble says Republicans are terrible, but they're better than Democrats. No, they're all criminals. It's almost how I feel, tell you the truth. That's right. They're barely better, And especially after Mike Johnson and his bringing all these crazy things through the House a few weeks ago. We talked about this last week. I don't want to rehash all that. But that's why we tell people to file to become a precinct delegate, because who are the parties? The parties are governed by those who show up. They choose who their leaders are. And if you're not a precinct delegate, you have no choice in who the leaders of the party are. The precinct delegates choose their local leadership, and they elect the people who choose the state leadership. John C. King says, who vets the vetters? Well, the voters do, theoretically. And that's, like I said, the world is run by those who show up. Most of the time, you file to become a precinct delegate, you become a precinct delegate automatically, unless there's more candidates than seats available, which is unusual. More often than not, the ones that file are the ones that win. And that's all it really takes. So we are working with a number of groups on this. We have our own page at rescuemichigan.com. An email went out about this today. We talked about this last week. It's linked on our homepage. It's also right here too. And if you've already filed, please just take a moment to complete the form, just so that we know that you're one of us. We're working with some other friends, the Conservative Coalition, Delegates for Trump, getting folks together to make sure that we don't send people. This is like to John's question, who's vetting the vetters? I mean, there's a simple question. Would you support Christina Karamo to become state chair again? If the answer is yes, no, thank you. Because she's already had one chance. And
you're assuming they tell you the truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. And some people are on record, there's that too. There's plenty of people that have been posting way more than they ought to on social media. So it's not hard to find out who's whom. But that's the big thing is, are we going to elect people who, and some of them are very well-meaning people. A lot of people thought Christina Karamo was a great high potential candidate to be state chair when people voted for her. And then reality set in. And a lot of people got disillusioned. Some people, though, really, really, really doubled down on defending it. And it just got crazier and crazier and crazier. And that's unfortunately the nature of getting emotionally invested in something. It happens to us all the time. When it happens all the time to people that support a candidate and they get elected, and then they start slowly but surely violating their campaign promises and casting bad votes. But once you're a supporter, a volunteer, a donor, it's hard to go back and say, ooh, because if you admit that someone, did the bad thing, then it reflects poorly on your judgment. And a lot of people can't face that. I can. I donated to RFK Jr. I regret it. I'll be the first to admit it. But a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't. And that is what ends up happening all the time when people make excuses for politicians. Like the people making excuses for Mike Johnson, Donald Trump. People make excuses for Donald Trump, and you know who you are. We get better politicians by getting better delegates. And it's a learning process. But yeah, folks, if you're watching this, you should file. And let us know. If you don't know what to do, you can go to the website. You can tick the button that says, please contact me to help file. But there's also some basic information here. There's not much to it. You click there to download the form. Pops right up. You print it off.
It's only one page. It's nice.
Yep.
Type it out online because there's always a lot of typos on there when you're when you get the list, after the election is over and you start emailing people.
Yeah. You can fill out the form. It's very simple. The only things that might be tricky are the jurisdiction and the precinct number, especially because this year a lot of precincts changed their numbers.
They changed.
And you got to get it notarized. To my knowledge, every county clerk is a notary. In my county, you can just go to the clerk's office yourself. They'll have the form for you. They'll notarize it for you for free, and they'll validate your precinct number is correct. They'll check everything.
County clerk.
County, yes, not your city clerk, not your township clerk.
Now, I think, if you had gone in like a month ago and you give them to your city clerk or township clerk, I think they have a way, or people can mail them, to the county clerk if you trust that method.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But we did. We took a bunch down after we had a delegate sign up, and then we're going to take some down, I think Monday or Tuesday, the final batch down to Wayne County.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah,
have
Tim
any,
says-
you're in Wayne 6, send me a text.
Yeah.
We are going to make one more trip.
Yeah. Tim says we had a notary at our meeting. You know what though? I've heard of notaries making simple clerical mistakes, not dating it or something, and precinct delegates being just having their applications disqualified.
Yeah, we double check everything. Yeah.
Another reason, if at all possible, to just go to your clerk's office, because then if they screwed up, it's on them.
Yeah, that's true.
But yep, you can go to the Secretary of State's website to punch in your information, and they'll give you your current precinct number that way too.
And look in your voter ID card should have your jurisdiction, because if you I think if you live in New Boston, your jurisdiction is Huron Township. If you live.
Yeah, but your precinct number might have changed.
And that, yeah, Flat Rock, in our area, we had Flat Rock renumbered and Riverview and a couple other ones. Trenton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's me again, Si. So some of us need basic precinct delegate info. Filing fee. There is no filing fee. They might have to pay a notary fee to get someone to notarize it, like UPS store will notarize it, but they'll charge you a few bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Is Wayne County in Detroit? Actually, Detroit is in Wayne County.
Wayne County. Yeah, the clerk, Wayne County clerk is in Detroit.
Oh, the Wayne County clerk's office. Yes, it's in Detroit, right? Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's down.
Karen M. Herndon on Rumble says, how do I find out if there is already sufficient delegates in my precinct? You can check with your county clerk's office. You could call them on Monday. Some of them post them online. My county clerk has a rolling spreadsheet updated daily of how.
Washington does a great job.
Yep. But not every other clerk's office does. So
yeah,
I know, Patty, you're in Wayne County, so probably
yeah, Wayne County, it wasn't even after the 23rd deadline, they had those up maybe the next day or the 25th. Don't quote me. And I didn't check closely to see if any of the precinct delegates were on there or not. Ron Picard says, can you check online and see if it's been filed correctly? I don't know. You could probably call. I don't know if I would check on. I don't know.
Yep. Oh, Mindy just posted a link to the Oakland County document. So there's the link for that. If you want, you can pause the video or watch
under
it.
elections.
When you're not watching live, and you can
you can check online to make sure you have your right jurisdiction and precinct number.
Yep.
And if they did re-precinct in your area, they should have sent you a new voter ID card.
Yep. But don't count on that because things get lost in the mail.
Things get lost in the mail.
Always the best thing to do is to call your clerk's office or even visit them. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Karen says for Oakland, we have to go to Pontiac to fill. Yes. Because I wouldn't rely on any clerk's office to overnight them to the county office. I would not do that.
Yeah.
The county clerk's office is where you file these. And at this point, I mean, you can overnight them, but even still, I would be there at 4 p.m. by 4 p.m. Tuesday to get them in. That is the best way. Let's see. It's Megan says, how do we find out our current precinct number? There's a Michigan Secretary of State website. I can try Googling it to find it, but they have a Michigan Voter Information Center where you can put in your personal information and it should come up. But the best way, again, go to your clerk's office, double check. Again, I can't specify. I can't say every county clerk is as good as my county clerk, but mine does have. They've got the updated precinct maps uploaded and all that kind of neat stuff. But a lot of them might not. So the best way to do it is to go to your clerk's office. And yes, Karen, Oakland's county clerk is in Pontiac. I would do that. I would not do it any other way, especially not at this point because it is the last minute.
So Wayne County right now, I just clicked on it. It's blurry. I was looking at this the other day. Okay, there's page 1 is legible. What is going on?
If you put the link in the private chat, I'll open it up and we can look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you mine. Hold on one sec. Let me pull it up here.
Where's the stream? I have so many windows open.
Yeah, I got that problem too.
All right.
Yeah, here's our county clerk's website, and they actually have the precinct delegate allocation posted. They have the unofficial list of candidates posted. So they make
Oh,
it really
yeah,
easy to
PDs,
find
they
them.
sometimes do a different file for PDs, yeah. And Wayne
Yeah,
County
and
as well. It's not, that file's
some-
not up yet.
Yeah, our county previously didn't used to. They used to redact the email addresses of the people that filed.
Ours
Now they
don't.
don't. Most of them don't.
Okay.
And that's another thing, by the way, folks. If you post your email address in that app in the precinct delegate application, it's going to appear on the internet most likely.
Yep.
You might not want to do that. You don't have to do that, or you can do what I do and use an email address that you just use for when you've got compulsory email addresses for like signing up to websites and things. That's not really the one you look at every day. You might do that. But if you go to our Rescue Michigan website, please do give us your real email address so that we can actually contact you. Anyway, what was I looking at here? Oh,
Yeah. Randy
what was
Guppy
it?
says, be careful who you trust to turn your affidavit in. Best bet, do it yourself. Yeah, we scanned them. We scanned everybody's back to them, so they had a copy, and then we got a receipt when we dropped them off. I think we got confirmation too that they reviewed them and they're all okay. But yeah, I mean, if someone wants to go downtown Detroit, but
are your precinct delegates listed in this one here, or no?
Let me see. Did it open on yours properly? Okay, maybe there's something wrong with my laptop.
No, these are on precinct delegates. These are everything else. So
and
it's not there.
Good? Okay, then there's something wrong with my computer.
It's legible.
Every page?
In that PDF that I just opened, this one here, yes.
Yeah, not mine.
But
Okay.
it didn't have the precinct delegates listed. So
no.
So theirs are not posted.
No, that's Wayne County.
Yeah, so that's Wayne County for you. So everyone's county is different, and there's not much you can do about that, unfortunately, other than elect another county clerk. But anyway, we will be keeping in touch with, someone might be on the ballot for a county clerk job. We will be keeping in touch with everybody that signs up on that little form there.
What the heck?
And we'll probably be putting most of you in touch with people locally, because obviously I'm not going to be running 83 counties, but there are good, I do know good people in a lot of counties, including all the big ones. So we'll be able to keep in touch with folks that way and make sure that the good people get together and get organized. So there you go. If you guys have more questions about becoming a precinct delegate, feel free to ask in the chat. Otherwise, we can talk about some other news, but most important thing is, when in doubt, file. Unless you physically can't, just do it. Because you have at least a few more days. You have, I think, 72 hours to withdraw. That's how it went with the regular candidates whose filing deadline was last week? Yeah, last week.
23rd.
Yep. And that's right. And even if you don't, what's the worst that happens? You can a precinct delegate is not actually a public office, even though you file at your clerk's office. They are essentially just performing a custodial role for the parties.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, if your local party says you're not allowed to be a precinct delegate because our bylaws have made a process to expel you from the party because maybe you're a convicted felon, or maybe you're clearly not really a Republican, or what have you, that might be an issue. So if you tell your county chair, I am not running for precinct delegate, and I resign from being a precinct delegate, then there'll be a vacancy again. So there are ways, but when in doubt, file, because you can always just not go to a county convention if you don't want to go. But if you want to be able to have a say.
A lot of people, our attendance was not great at this last one that we had. Like, people are tired.
Yeah.
Of nonsense, right? And then people came to county and then didn't come to state. We had, I want to say 23 delegates and alternates from Wayne County that didn't show up March 2nd.
Wow. So there you go. If you guys want to make a difference, all you got to do is show up, because that's how easy it is. That's why
we didn't have a full delegation. We didn't have 64.
That's why the Republican Party is in such bad shape as it is, because they can't even get people to show up to choose who their leaders are. How sad is that? But that's the way it is. So strongly encourage every one of you to show up, or at least put your name in so that you have the opportunity to show up if you decide to. But yeah, I mean, I've been involved in politics a while. Every term, every cycle, people disappear because they give up. And that's sad. I get it. But the sky's been falling for many years, and the sky is certainly falling this year. But you know what? We're all still here, guys. Someday we won't be, but we're still here for now. Anyway, speaking of the heart and soul of the GOP, as everyone loves to talk about, Joe Biden talks about the heart and soul of America. Christina Karamo, the heart and soul of the GOP. And here's ML Eric talking about the heart and soul of the Michigan Republican Party. And this whole thing is really just a hit piece on Charles Kermy, a candidate for...
I don't know if I'd say that.
Supervisor. He's not a candidate for Plymouth Township Supervisor?
He is. I don't...
Yes. It's just...
I mean, a reporter can only write what the candidates tell them.
I'm not sure I agree with that. They can write what they discover through any number of other things. They could write about the piece I sent an email blast out to. They could, and the video I did called Kurt Heisey's a lying bag of trash. That was not mentioned in this article anywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of things that are not mentioned in this article. It's very strange. There's no mention of any local issues. It's just like, oh, this is just a referendum on MAGA extremists, and here's nice moderate Kurt Heisey versus MAGA extremist Charles Kermy.
Yeah, right.
That's the Detroit Free Press. If you're guys taking advice from the Detroit Free Press on who should be in charge of the GOP, because I have this strange feeling that ML Eric and Alric might not actually have the Republican Party's best interests at heart. I don't know. Let's see what we have here.
Okay, Tim Cohen.
Yeah. Randy says we have one last PD sign-up event tomorrow night in Owego County. Cool. Yep. There's a lot of last-minute precinct delegate sign-ups. I know I've got calls to make tomorrow. Folks, it was a great person to call about becoming a precinct delegate. Your family and friends. That's a great way to get people to sign up, because guess what? At the county convention, they'll vote the way you tell them to, because they'll trust you more than anybody else.
Mm.
So yeah, he's talking about Matt Maddock, which has nothing to do with anything. This Ziegler guy is primarying Matt Maddock, nothing to do with this race at all. Matt DePerno.
Matt Maddock has nothing to do with Plymouth Township.
No.
Like, the guy lives, where do they live? Milford?
Yeah, Milford.
So because Chuck happens to know him, like now he's like, I mean, yeah, it's silly. It's just, I've never seen such an insecure individual. Yeah.
Heisey, I mean, this guy's a complete drama queen. We've talked about this. Well, the biggest video was the Kurt Heisey's a lying bag of trash video. All there's on Facebook is hurl accusations at everybody. He attacks constituents, which is a huge no-no. That's what amazes me, that this quote-unquote journalist didn't mention anything about that, because that is something that ordinarily they go 5-alarm on, is when a politician starts attacking a constituent. That's something you are never.
I don't know if he knew. I don't know if he knows, but
well,
I don't know if he knows the abuse that goes on here.
Well, he wrote a whole story that appeared in print in the Sunday edition. They wanted this story to appear in the Sunday edition. They saved it for the Sunday edition. Look, this was published 3 days ago, but came out in the Sunday edition. So this is a piece they designed to be seen by eyeballs, and he didn't do any due diligence. He didn't look to see what Kurt Heisey's doing lately. No, he's just Kurt Heisey. He's a pretty face. You know, he might be someone that just lies pathologically and is corrupt as the day is long. But hey, you know, whatever. It's all black and white. It's all the Christina Karamo people, who obviously Charles Kermy supports, which is, you know, complete BS. But that's what it is. Just paint everybody with his broad brush, all black and white. Incredible. So yeah, if you ever any doubt that the mass media is not your friend, you know, this is the kind of story that just reeks of partisan hackery, posing as journalism. I can't believe this guy actually was a Pulitzer. Well, I guess I can, because the Pulitzer has been so degraded over these years, but he's very proud. He's a Pulitzer, an Emmy award-winning reporter. So there you go.
I think Maddock had a good line in there, something about why are you so obsessed with me or something.
Oh yeah. I actually saw Maddock the other day. He mentioned that. Let me see if I can find it. Where's the money quote from Maddock? I don't know, but he said something here that was funny.
It's funny.
He made some comment about him being obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Heisey, that is. Yeah. We got here. Betty Nelson says, I've been trying to figure out how to get involved as a delegate for years. I find it competitive, clicking, etc. I'm trying to learn, but nobody makes it easy. Cindy Holland has been a godsend, yet I'm still turned off. Well, and Cindy Holland is great. You should talk to Cindy more. Because it is frustrating. It really is frustrating. Yeah. But you know, you gotta, I mean, I'd say also, you know, look at what people actually do. You know, in my county GOP, we have people who have been busting their asses, putting in hundreds of hours of volunteer time, organizing walk days, knocking on doors, working parades, working fairs, raising tens of thousands of dollars. And we have people who have done absolutely nothing but attack everyone that's doing anything. I wonder who I would support for my leadership. You know, just saying. Yeah, but there are people. There are people who will support the destroyers. Scott calls them the disruptors, Scott McMahon. I like destroyers because that's what they are. They're just like Democrats. They don't build anything. They only destroy things. And they're Marxist in their conduct too, you know, shouting down, breaking the rules, all that kind of stuff, all the usual things. What else is in the news this week? Oh,
Paula has another event tomorrow, the Wayne 12th. We have one last
there you go.
Out in Dearborn.
Dearborn Performing Arts Center tomorrow evening. Cool.
So if you're in the area, you want to, you know, they'll have an over there.
And anyone in Wayne County can file at any
that event too. Yeah.
Yep. Betty says, please tell me how much it costs. I have time, just not money. It doesn't cost anything.
Well,
unless you got maybe a couple bucks to a notary.
Yeah.
But that's it.
To get on, for that. But if you want to go to a state convention, there's a cost usually. I mean, if it's overnight, you know, hotel room or whatever.
Well, if you go to a state convention, then you have to pay for gas to get there. But that's about it.
So, but to become a precinct delegate is $0.
Yeah. And county conventions they're in your county and they're only one evening. So they're not that, I mean, they are very frustrating and they're very
dues. I mean, some committees have dues, I think, right? Membership dues. But even still, if there are any, they're very nominal. Yeah.
And I don't think they even are. I can't think of a place where they have dues for precinct delegates. Our executive committee members have paid dues, but the precinct delegates don't. So there'll be 2 or 3 conventions in a cycle. They're always either in Lansing, Grand Rapids, or Detroit. Detroit, not very often these days, but that's it. That's it. So, and you don't have to stay overnight there. I often don't. I usually just go to the convention and come home. Depending on where you are, obviously, if you're up north, you might have to get a hotel. But that's it. And often, like what the Youpers all usually do, is they rent a party bus, and they will take a bus trip down to Lansing or Grand Rapids or wherever it is, and then they'll all ride down and ride back together. That's what they normally do in the UP. What else is in the news this week? Here's an interesting story. Jocelyn Benson ensnared in voter fraud scandal. He signed a potentially disqualified ballot petition. So here is, and you can tell they were very proud of themselves. Jocelyn Benson herself. Yeah. This is for someone to primary Shri Thanadar, who's
in District 13.
Yep. Yeah, he's an incumbent congressman, kind of a goofball. He's had staff issues, which is always a bad sign. Not that uncommon with politicians, unfortunately. So Benson supporting this guy, Adam Hollier, a state senator, former state senator. He was in the last term, not in this term. Primarying Shri Thanadar, or Thandar, I don't know how it's pronounced. And apparently a whole lot of these signatures were fake, which, gosh, wasn't there just a really, really bad fake signature scandal recently? I can't remember what that's right. We had like 5 candidates for governor get thrown off the ballot in the last cycle. You'd think by now people would be a little more cautious about
when is the
verifying
period
the
to challenge people who are on the, like this kind of stuff? When's that deadline, or did it pass? Did I miss that? Because I
I'm
remember
not sure.
years ago there was the deadline, and then I remember listening to the hearings online.
I think I'm not sure there is an official deadline because I know for a fact because when I worked for Kerry Bentivolio, he was primarying his incumbent congressman, Mr. Thaddeus McCotter, and it was about 3 days after the candidate filing deadline went by that old Thad McCotter had been apparently forging ballot access documents for the past 3 terms.
Oh my goodness!
Had to resign in disgrace. So, I mean, I guess it had been before any kind of deadline, but because he did get thrown off the ballot, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, a time will come when the ballots are printed and they can't be replaced. But you can probably still disqualify somebody. I mean, their name might be on the ballot, but if they didn't file legally, I mean, that might be retroactive. That would be where their name might still be on the ballot, but they can't. They can't take the seat if their signatures were forged because they didn't meet the prerequisites for running.
It was crazy back in 22 how many people got kicked off the ballot.
Yeah, it really was. I understand there's some criminal charges still pending on those. We had a quote from Democrat voter data expert, political consultant Mark Grebner, and he says, if you can see that it was forged while holding it at arm's length, it's not a good forgery. That's pretty bad.
Is that the test? I can't out to here.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So there you go. So we'll see. According to Shri Thanadar, Adam Hollier only has 700 some petitions. Wait. Let me see what it says here. I believe it does say 700 something, which would not be enough. Yeah, 764 of those are permissible. So if this goes through as it did against the Republicans 2 years ago, that means Hollier will not qualify for the ballot.
Was this Whitmer's guy? This is the guy she wanted, this Hollier guy?
Benson certainly, and Democrats in general. Shri Thandar was someone who he ran for governor in 2018 against Whitmer in the primary race. He's a business owner, Mr. Moneybags type who tried to buy the election, didn't work out. It often doesn't. And then basically bought the congressional seat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and rumor has it wanted to run for U.S. Senate as well, and that also didn't work out. So Democrats are going after him now because he's not your typical, Democrat establishment follow along type guy. But I wonder. Let me see if I can find this here, because I do think there's actually another primary challenger opposing Thanadar as well. There's
quite a few. And that in 13, I think there's like 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's Mary Waters and there's Shakira Hawkins.
That's it?
So we'll see if they make it or not. Who knows?
I thought there were more.
There's another one who also was disqualified.
Ayash backed out. Ayash? Oh, he's State House.
Abraham Ayash. Yeah, he was the one that didn't run for re-election and might run
for Senate,
state Senate, or something else in the future.
Yeah,
but he didn't. Tim Kuhn says ballot issues were not an accident. Well, it's amazing because the buck has to stop with somebody, and obviously legally the buck stops with the candidate. But you would think the candidate would hold their campaign consultant accountable, right? Because he was the one that probably took a big fat check to say, "I will get you on the ballot." But one of the people that got thrown off the ballot in 2022 was this fellow named Perry Johnson, who his consultant was John Yob, who was also before him the consultant for James Craig, who also got disqualified because they used the same company to collect the signatures. And yet, apparently, John Yob was still Perry Johnson's consultant when he ran for president earlier this year or last year. So, I mean, that's a very forgiving soul, Perry Johnson was, despite the fact that he was a quality guru, according to him. But there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, he was in the quality control business.
Mm-hmm.
But It's amazing to me how few people really think that politics is any kind of challenging thing. Yeah, Mindy says people never learn. Yeah, it's like everyone thinks, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm a doctor, politics will be easy. You know, it's like actually, politics is a contest for power, and you better believe the people who are playing that game are serious. Yeah, Randy says, Perry said to me, John Yob, he means are the best there is. So, well, yeah, best he is at separating him from his money, that's for sure. Hot Trader says, you guys ever check out Dave Smith, part of the Problem podcast? I saw Dave Smith a year or so ago in Detroit. Very funny. Also says, support Michael Rechtenwald. No fixing this mess. Watch it all crumble. Well, maybe. I don't know what's Rechtenwald running for? I don't know. What time is it? 10 of. I don't know if we want to open the can of worms on going through geopolitics stuff tonight, because I got plenty of stuff on this. There's been some news in Russia, been some news in Ukraine, been some news in France, sending 1,500 troops to the front lines. That'll go great. I did tweet, yeah, what's going to happen is the French troops will be killed, and then NATO will get involved, and then there'll be a nuclear war, and we'll all die, which I hope doesn't turn out that way. Maybe that's not all that likely. Well, the part about the French troops being killed is, unless it turns out to be a bunch of BS. You know, if maybe Macron's a bullshit artist, maybe nothing's going to really come of any of this stuff. But if the French troops are going to war in Ukraine on behalf of the Ukrainians against Russians, yeah, they're well, we'll see. We'll see how the French army of 1,500 people do against the Russians, who are now. I mean, you have to laugh because it's so horrible. But
well, it's horrible. But I mean, you know, what are they saying?
This has been a big turning point. This has been a big turning point. Just so, of course, we just passed that $61 billion for the war, which it turns out wasn't really much for the war. There was, I think, $8 billion was to fund the Zelensky government. So that was just Zelensky's cream. A lot of it was to replenish the stocks we've already spent. So not exactly a game-changing spend, but in the meantime, Russia is now, they just had some kind of big military graveyard show in Moscow showing off all the captured tanks, the Abrams and the Challengers and the Leopards and all the other Western weapons that we sent over there, the M777s. You know, F-16s haven't shown up yet, so there's none of those yet. But I guess the big thing is that Russia has now admitted that they are on offense. They have never said this before. We have often implied that they were going on offense for this or that. We called it the Ukrainian counteroffensive last year, but Russia had never called anything they were doing an offensive until this week. And this whole week, like every day, I've been listening to the news from Russia, and it's like, we got this village, we got this village, we got this village every day, which is a definitely accelerating pace. And so what they're doing is happening faster, not slower. So yeah, the Biden regime thinks they're going to keep this going until through the election. They're going to somehow stall for time. I don't think they will. This is not going well for Ukraine anywhere, but that's not stopping people from Lindsey Graham from saying, "Oh yeah, we're heroically defending Ukraine by killing them all." He's apparently doing some kind of event with Mike Rogers this week.
Yeah, Friday.
Is it Friday?
It was. Oh,
this past Friday.
I think it was.
Mike Rogers. Yeah, let me find what was it that Mike Rogers called him. Hold on, let me pull this up.
It was at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial.
Yeah. Yeah, he said. Yeah, it was. You're right. It was Friday. National Security All Stars: Lindsey Graham, Morton Ortegas, and Chettle. Yeah, the National Security All Star Lindsey Graham, who just destroyed our.
Was it Wolf?
Chad Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mindy asked, was Perry Johnson drunk when he said John Yob was the best.
Apparently,
and,
no. Randy Guppy said didn't appear that
no,
way.
he was in his office. He seemed dead serious. So there you go. It's me again. Sai says currency printer goes brr. Yep. Yeah, these bills are coming due, folks. Like, we're talking about going to war with China now. That's another big thing that happened recently. So that was another big part of that foreign aid package was the sanctioning of TikTok, and then not Lloyd Austin. Anthony Blinken goes to China to give the Chinese an ultimatum. Say, you got to stop selling the Russians your nitrocellulose for your munitions, as if Russia can't make their own nitrocellulose for artillery shells, or else we'll sanction you, China. So just the escalation just continues as if we have leverage. And China's just like, there's actually a video where before Blinken even shows up, Xi Jinping's like pacing around. He's like, when is this guy going to get out of here? Like, we've become a laughingstock. And people used to fear us. Now are just like, get these people out of here. It is embarrassing. It's not getting better. It's not getting better. We just got we just got kicked out of Africa. So we have apparently a military base in Niger, which has been taken over by the government that came in a coup last year. The new government invited the Russians to come to their military base and protect them. So now our troops are in the base saying they're on their way out. They're like, we're getting out of here as quick as we can. It's got to get our, we just have to gather up our things and get out of here. So the Africans are kicking us out. And here we are telling China what to do. Oh, that'll go great. And and if this escalates, well, we'll just have a war with China because, Russia's out producing us, but China will be the country that we can go to war with. Some think tank had the nerve to say, we could definitely win a war with China because they're not experienced. They're not experienced in wars. So we, the country that has lots of experience in wars that don't go well, like in Afghanistan and Iraq, we have the experience. The Chinese who get out of wars and don't go into wars, they're the aggressors, is what we say. Yeah, Tim says Russia has occupied the base in Niger. No, it's not called an occupation, Tim, when they're invited. And it's an occupation when you're not invited. When you're invited, you're a guest. That's an occupation. That is a welcoming. So yeah, this will go great. This will go great. I'm sure we'll have a lovely. This will all die down before the November election, guys. But don't worry. To steal defeat from the jaws of victory, Trump has blessed all these wonderful policies. It's actually, don't worry about that $61 billion. It's a loan. It's a brilliant thing. It's a great thing. Amazing. I don't know. But I do know this. I can't control what happens in Ukraine. I can have some say in what happens in Michigan. And I hope we are able to elect people that can actually, do something about the government that we have, which currently the Democrats have control over the state House, the state Senate, the entire judicial branch, and of course, the governor, attorney general, and secretary of state. Tim says Russia had an ugly experience in Afghanistan also. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Well, yeah,
20 years ago.
40.
Yeah.
Was that 1970s? I mean, when was it?
Yeah, Russia was a different country in the 1980s, 1990s. In fact, they were pretty much a devastated, destroyed pile. It was a gas station masquerading as a country in the 1990s. Well, the times they have changed. And anyway, and in that case too, what was Russia doing in Afghanistan in those days? Being invaders. What are they doing in Niger? Well, they're doing what the Wagner Group often does. They offer their services. So we'll see. We will see. But as I said, we're the ones getting out with our tail between our legs. So we'll see how it goes for the French going up against the Russian military. I'm not holding my breath. It'll go well for these 1,500 French souls.
Yeah.
But Macron's got a big mouth on him, and so here we are. Anyway, folks, we have a country to save. We have a state to save. And the people who elect the ones who lead the effort are the precinct delegates. If you want to be involved in that, if you want to have a say in that at all, you need to become a precinct delegate. I'll tell you something else, guys. I forgot to mention this. One of the perks of being a precinct delegate is you get all the emails and physical mails from all the campaigns. Every Republican candidate for Secretary of State and Attorney General and U.S. Senate and Congressman.
If you put your email address on your affidavit.
Yeah. Oh, they'll put you on their mailing list, though, too. They will send you direct mail.
I didn't put my email.
Your mailing address?
Mailing address is required. Now, they did change the form this year because mailing address used to be required and then email and phone were optional. And it was back and forth. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be on the county website. I'm leaving it off. Even though I have one email only for politics, and that was smart. So if you haven't done your affidavit yet, I do recommend that. Don't have it all go into your Gmail or whatever you use, because then it's just going to get jumbled up and lost. So it is good to have a special email just for politics. But but I didn't put it on my affidavit, and I don't get there's like different mailing lists. I don't always get everything. This time I put it on. Well, whatever.
My point being, the campaigns all really, really want your support. They actually treat you like they care about you a little bit more than they do the average voters.
Yeah.
Which some people might not care about that. I think that's nice. I think I like to see candidates spend money on me. You know what I mean?
You want to be wined and dined.
Well, and they do care. When you send a letter to your congressman and you say, I'm a precinct delegate and I cannot support you because of your vote for, I don't know, pick your thing. Oh, I don't know. How about the FISA warrantless mass surveillance thing? I didn't include in that clip we watched in the beginning, but the guy also boasts about how they used FISA to spy on the Trump campaign. So if your representative in Congress voted for that pile of garbage, when they get letters from people that say, I'm a precinct delegate and I am furious you voted for this, they start to get a little nervous. You know, it does matter because they actually do care about the base. If they want to win, and maybe some of them don't, but most of them do.
Some of them want to win with Democrat votes.
Yeah, Mike Johnson wants to win with Democrat votes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Is that going to do it for us for tonight? I think that's going to do it for us.
Yeah, we went an hour and a half last week doing the candidate talk. So, and I'm tired. I've eaten a lot of lamb today.
Well, if you guys have any further questions you think of later, just go to rescuemichigan.com/pdteam.php. It's, I'm sure, linked from the homepage. And just, check that button that says, please contact me to help me file if you have questions, because I will contact you and answer your questions. So there you see, that's me giving precinct delegates more than the time of day. So there you go. All right, guys. I think that will do it for us for tonight. William Lonsberry asks, have you discussed the upcoming school millages? No, because those will be a topic for the general elections. And actually, those are going on. There's different ones of those all over the state, I'm sure. Long story short, vote no, because they always want more money. They always want more money.
Yeah.
That's all there is to all the millages. They want more money. And if you give them more money, that's what they'll need. More money.
Yeah. They need to figure out how to do more with less, just like we've all had to, right?
Yep. Oh, I saw somewhere the Axe My Tax deadline is June 15th to get signatures. Carla Wagner, the organizer of Axe My Tax, came to my county a few weeks ago. She didn't even mention getting signatures. She didn't even have a petition page, Andy, I don't think. So we'll see how they do. But that's a different thing. That's property taxes. But anyway, we'll talk more on another stream, I'm sure during the summer or something, talking about, he says May 7th. Okay, so you've got so you've got a special election. Okay, well, most places don't have special elections.
What school district?
Yeah, what county are you in, Bill or William? But that is true. I see Walled Lake in Huron Valley. So there you go. It hadn't occurred to me.
Mm.
But yes, May is also, for some places, a special election. For most places, it won't be. But one of the things that they love to do is put those special tax millages on May elections when almost nobody even knows there is an election.
Mhm.
February elections, those things even exist sometimes. Yeah, Jessica says once the millage is in, you can never get rid of it. We've been paying the millage for WCCC for 40 plus years. Yep, that's the way it goes. So you can contact your clerk's website while you're looking up your precinct information to see if there's any special elections you guys might have on May 7th. And if there is, make sure you show up and vote no for whatever it is, because it's taxes and spending. That's all it ever is. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will have more soon. We will take a look maybe next weekend about who's filed for precinct delegates. So until next time, thank you guys for joining us. And thanks as always for Audio for Liberty. Oh, and let me know in the comments what parts in those transcripts, the hearing. And if you want to audition for the roles, we've got some roles here. We've got, let's see here. We've got Ann Delisle. We've got the judge, Judge Rossi. We've got the attorneys, Campbell and Lauterbach. I forget their first names at the moment. We've got Thomas Balch, the Roberts Rules expert. We have, who else do we have here? We have potentially, if we do some of these others, Margaret Kurzweil. We have, hold on. Angela Gillis, or Gillisi, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Dan Hartman. Isn't that funny? He's an attorney, but he's a witness. He had to be, he couldn't be the lawyer because he was a witness. Like in that Comerica Bank lawsuit. We have Jennifer Standerfer, April Snyder. So there are roles available for you guys. So if you're interested, drop me a line or leave it in the comment section or something.
Dear.
And we'll see what we can do. We'll have to figure out scheduling. We'll have some fun. So as always, PPW III says Hartman. And it says Campbell withdrew. Oh, he withdrew. Weird. Wonder what happened. Because they have a hearing. They have the actual what's the word for it? It's not called a trial, but you know what I mean. The actual hearing of the case coming up in June, I believe. Let's go. Center asked, I joined late. Are you planning? Yes, we are. That's what we were just talking about. Yes, we are. So there you go. All right. Well, more from us soon. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. As always, thanks for all you do for liberty. And until then, peace.